Okay, more stocks to monitor, more stocks to watch out for. A lot of them were very active in trade yesterday as well. We've discussed the Lakshmi Machine Works and the NBFCs in the Delta Corps. Still a couple of more to talk, but Mayuresh Joshi, fund manager at Angel Broking, joins us right now on the show with his thoughts on the markets as well. Mayuresh, you know, the charts on the Nifty indicate that there is a likelihood that the index may move up. Two of the biggest indices though are not participating. IT has been bombed out. Banks aren't looking terribly strong. What are you doing with banks right now?
Morning, Neeraj. So again, I think if you analyze how the numbers have been for the quarter gone by, the private sector space has given a very decent performance. Barring a few exceptions from the public sector banks, my own sense is that the larger public sector banks did mete out a good performance as well. So overall, my own sense is that as credit growth starts picking up in the second half and as asset quality pressures start receding, it will be a dual effect in terms of how NIMs will pan out. As credit growth picks up, the credit costs slowly and steadily start inching downwards, and again that has a positive impact on NIMs and spreads. Third, I think in terms of the core NII growth, as the working capital constraints for a lot of end user industries start coming down, my own sense is that FY18 numbers will appear far more better for the banking industry as a whole. So we're keeping a very optimistic and a positive view on the larger private sector banks and selectively on the public sector space.
Yeah, indeed. Mayuresh, hi, morning. So give us some stock ideas that you may be working with right now.
No, again, as themes, Ayesha, what you're really liking apart from banking is cement. And yes, cement stocks have moved up significantly over the past few quarters. But again, I think if you look at utilization levels expected to inch upwards, the government reforms coming through specifically on the housing front as well as on the infra front, GDP expected to grow around 8%. The GDP multiplier in terms of cement volume offtake will be quite significant over the next few quarters. You've seen realizations probably improve, and those improvements will probably be more evident in the coming few quarters. Input costs still benign, and even if one assumes input costs to go up a little bit, I think the volumes will take care of the operating leverage that these companies will enjoy going forward. So though they enjoy higher valuations at this point of time, I think cement as a theme is still something that I continue to be very optimistic about. If you're holding on to stocks like Ultratech, JK Lakshmi, you very well might want to hold on to stocks like these. Secondly, I think from the mid-cap space, EPC as a theme is something that we continue to like. Expectations of NHI and MRTH, I think, giving out orders in excess of 15,000 kilometers. And again, I think that is going to be a huge leading factor for stocks within this sector. What you've probably seen is execution woes over the past few quarters, but companies with strong balance sheets, with decent order books, in my opinion, should still continue to deliver good numbers on the top line and bottom line. So again, I think KNR Constructions, NBL Infra is something that we continue to like.
Okay, remember in about a minute, rather an hour and 10 minutes or thereabouts, we'll hear out from the biggest voice, the biggest interview of the month on the markets, and that's the big bull Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, joining live and exclusive on ET Now. So this is one interview that you can't afford to miss. And then of course we'll analyze the key takeaways from this interview as well with two eminent experts. Vikas Khemani as well as Amisha Aura would be joining in to talk about the key takeaways from this really big interview. Coming up live and exclusive in about an hour and 8 minutes right here on ET Now. Okay, so this you can't afford to miss. My question is what within the broader end of the spectrum can you afford to miss? Now, you know, a stock, Himang Jani, that has done extremely well for the last 10 days is J Kumar Infra. Got beaten down on rumors they'll lose out on the metro. Then some people realized that, hey, these are rumors, probably will not be the case. So people bought into it. Then 3 days ago, they came out with the metro order. The stock has been locked on an upper circuit ever since. Now trading at about book value, but substantially lower than a QIP or the earlier highs that it has clocked in. What do you do with J Kumar Infra?
See, J Kumar, we have seen that volatility because of the uncertainty around that metro order. But if you look at their core business, we have seen a strong growth in the order book because some of these state governments have started awarding projects for the flyovers and the roads in a major way. And some of these small companies, if you look at their overall market cap and the kind of top line that they are doing, there is still a lot of scope in terms of growth. So I think that at around 1 time price to book or around thereby there is going to be interesting upside opportunity, but we don't have a detailed coverage on it, so I won't be able to put out a specific reco here.
What's the view right now on PSU Bank? Still about a month back, there was high strong conviction, was reflective in the stock prices. Is the conviction as strong when it comes to PSBs and the kind of jump that they may actually post from here?
See, we have been selective there, and SBI and BOB were our preferred picks, and post SBI results there was a sense that you would see some kind of a growth coming back on the operating profit on the top line. But the recent developments in terms of the kind of reforms that the RBI has proposed on the corporate banking side, the sense that we are getting is that the entire banking sector, which is focusing on the corporate side or the wholesale banking, could go through some kind of a pain, because on the both sides, on the asset side as well as liability side, the growth could come under some kind of a pressure. So I think if you really want to play for, let's say, 1 or 2 years, it would make more sense to go with private sector banks with retail focus or NBFCs. PSU as a space, I don't think is going to perform in a big way.
Well, let's talk about the aviation sector then, and the ministry is working to bring down aircraft leasing costs for Indian carriers that had shot up after grounding of Kingfisher Airlines. In fact, Indian carriers including Indigo, SpiceJet, Air India have been regularly taking the aircraft on lease for fleet expansion, mainly in high demand periods. In an exclusive chat with ET Now, the aviation minister himself, Ashok Gajapati Raju, also says that the government is satisfied with the response of recently announced regional connectivity scheme, which is targeted at increasing connectivity to small towns as well as cities.
The growths are showing well. You're not thinking of floors and caps, because these were issues that came up in the past. Even in Parliament they came up.
As far as leasing of aircraft is concerned, is there something going on there as well? Will you make it easier for airlines to lease aircraft?
You see, we do have to see that Indian players can lease aircraft at reasonable costs. You see, the Kingfisher experiment phoned up some lessons. Of course, that airline, I don't know how it managed it, because they didn't pay the lessees, they didn't pay the labor, they didn't pay the fuel bills, they didn't pay the landing charges, and of course I'm not going to talk about the loans. So how he managed all this, God knows. But anyway, net result was leasing costs for Indian players went up. So we need to be friendly there. We need to keep leasing costs within the country as low as is possible or competitive with the world.
So can you tell us some steps which you are taking, or are you talking to leasing companies, and by what percentage will you try to bring down the leasing cost for airlines?
You see, costs we can't distinguish, but if a lessee wants to repossess the aircraft, we can deregister. That is within the government's hands. So we have to generate that confidence among those who lease these aircrafts to the airlines.
So after a long time, we are opening bilateral with different countries. As far as bilateral situation is concerned, can you tell us briefly about with which countries you will start bilateral talks, and by when will they be completed? Any idea on that?
You see, inquiries have been coming in. Indians did not, say if you go 2 years back or more, Indians were not performing. Today they are performing. So 80% of their bilaterals they perform. Obviously they need a renegotiation and an increase in the number of seats. So that situation has come about. So where everybody performs, fine, everybody gains.
How has been the response to regional connectivity scheme so far? Are you satisfied, and going forward, what are your plans as far as RCS is concerned?
The regional connectivity scheme is a good thing. In fact, a lot of inquiries. We had a small interaction in Maharashtra, Mumbai. So everybody is interested. In fact, we are going around motivating everywhere.
Well, that's the word coming in from the aviation minister, and a couple of categorical points there. A, that they're working to bring down leasing costs for carriers. That's going to be a beneficiary for sure. And yeah, no plans to cap fares during at least the festive season. That's the word coming in, exclusive at that, right here to ET now, the aviation minister himself. But the SGX Nifty, let's quickly check in on that, considering some of the Asian markets are seeing a bit of a pickup. And the SGX Nifty, that continues to hold out in the green, but marginally so. 86.80 is where the SGX is right now. So let's see, after that struggle around that support zone of 85.50 or the 85.80 thereabouts, and finally a bounce to 8600, where do we stand today, and whether or not is it going to be the usual suspects which are going to bump up the Nifty higher, and would autos continue to be in leadership position? That's of course something key that we're going to look out for. And of course a couple of other earnings reactions as well, DLF mainly. And let's see where that one goes with its earnings reactions as that. The first rates, the pre-open rates that is, should be just kicking in any minute, while Asia has seen a bit of a pickup after a bit of a tempered sort of start. But no, it's not quite matched up to the US equity market close. That's the first rate, or rather the first rate hasn't come in. There it comes now, 85.60 on the Nifty, a little tempered. That's where the pre-open rate is, down about 0.5%. I will give that a skip. The Sensex rate rather believable, 28,000 is where we're currently at, marginally higher in trade right now. DLF should be reacting to its earnings, so let's bring out those for you. Don't be fooled by the optical illusion in terms of the profitability jump, because the numbers definitely are below analyst estimates, and now the stock as well is reflecting the disappointment, down about 2% for DLF right now. HCL Technologies, that's your surprise mover today. Maybe this rate will actually come off. 2.25% is looking like a little bit of an unbelievable number, and now it's settled downwards of about almost 1%. So remember, IT continues to be the beleaguered pocket, so would be interesting to see whether that trend also is here to stay or not. 86.56 on the Nifty right now, Sensex at 27,988. Tata Motors is definitely something you may want to check in on. Then of course Eicher and Hero MotoCorp as well. Tata Motors, the green continues, 526 is where the stock is right now. Eicher higher by about 1%. Hero MotoCorp and Reliance then are the other ones which should come off on your screens. These two were nice smart movers yesterday, and Axis Bank is the other one that I definitely want to check in on. Reliance starts off in the positive. For the currency, you're seeing a bit of strength actually come in, and that's good to see considering the dollar strength and thereby its impact on the emerging market currency pack. Finally some strength coming in, conclusive at that, 67.11 on the rupee.
Yeah, prime focus, it's an erratic trade. I'm sure it'll change, but look at that move at the start of the trading session. Now let's get the NSE move, and I think I think these rates will update in just moments from now. Prime focus, they've gotten some amount of money. Let's move on from that and move on to some of the other IT names. Remember, yesterday was carnage for large cap IT as well as mid cap IT. So Infosys, HCL Technologies, Wipro, and then lower down, I mean, yesterday an eye-popping rate on Tata Elxsi. It's corrected from almost 2400 all the way to 1500. So there are some select names which have really gone down in trade. Would be interesting to see what they do going ahead. By the way, J Kumar Infra started off on a circuit yet again. So maybe yet another day of good moves for J Kumar Infra. Do watch out. And Wellspin, 3 days in a row, it started off in the green, ended in the red. Let's see if it does that today. For now, it is showing some upticks in the session. The other one is Mandhana. Again, a company maybe on a renewal path, doing okay for itself right now. Mayuresh, okay, just before I go to Mayuresh though, maybe Ajay is waiting by with a list of the 3 stocks to watch. So let's first get in Ajay and talk about the top 3 stocks on the minds of the dealing rooms this morning. Good morning, Ajay.
Good morning, Neeraj. Neeraj, there's definitely a lot of money moving out of OMCs now that the results are over, and a large part of the contributions from inventory gains, etc., and going into gas-based stocks. IGL was, witnessing some profit taking yesterday, but dealers are strongly recommending gas stocks like IGL to be bought on decline, saying that they are ripe for a massive re-rating. Some of it is already happening right now, so dips should be bought as far as IGL goes. Strong management commentary even after the results. apart from that, Indocount Industries, now this entire space has been in the eye of storm, but just couple of days back the management attended a textile conference where they have given very positive commentary about how their business at least is unfazed. Yesterday the stock was witnessing correction. In fact, they sounded out, indicated that second quarter results actually seasonally the strongest for the company, and the Q1 was actually the weakest seasonally. So that's one stock to watch out for. Again, dips being bought over here, and apart from that, of course, the third stock to watch out for would be SAIL. Now this stock is not on a lot of investor radar, completely ignored. When the entire metal pack was rallying, this one did not really participate, but on 8th, when the results will be out, dealers believe that this could throw in a big surprise, and hence some accumulation is on over here as well as far as the institutional desks are concerned.
Okay, those are some important stocks to look out for, but Avan, tell us what our brokerage is saying about Biocon.
Well, very upbeat. In fact, Morgan Stanley has gone ahead and they've maintained an overweight stance. In fact, they've upped the target quite significantly, 1156 from the earlier 889 rupees. Now, they believe that the company is executing very well when it comes to the overall biosimilar pipeline in terms of the US as well as EU filings. In fact, Morgan Stanley has gone on to say that in FY17 itself, it has filed 2 out of 4 products in the EU. In terms of the base business, Morgan Stanley believes that there is very good momentum as of now building up, especially improving visibility for G-Copaxone 20 and 40 mg. They've gone ahead and raised the FY17 EPS estimates by a whopping 9% and 18% as well for FY17 and 18 respectively, in view of the momentum in the base business. Not just that, they believe that Biocon remains a multi-year growth as well as re-rating story. So fairly confident on the prospects of this stock.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Avan. And Biocon, well, 1.5% higher as well. So that is that one. I mean, there is a stock like Natco which is trading very close to its highs as well, but Biocon right up there. It's been a laggard for so many years, it's not surprising, but at 904, 905. That is packing quite a bit of a punch. However, a bit later on this show in trade today, you will hear out the biggest voice on the markets that matters, and that is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the biggest interview of the month, coming up in less than an hour, right here, live and exclusive on ET Now. Can't afford to miss that.
Okay, and later this hour, let's talk about what's lined up on the show. We'll talk about new efficiency norms for ACs. Also, M&M gears up for festive season. We're going to be getting you an exclusive chat with Pawan Goenka. And of course, tire stocks, they've been on fire and they've surged post the decline in rubber prices. To get you the management of JK Tires as well. Well, tires definitely is one theme that we've been tracking very closely, and before anything else though, let's chat about RCF, and they posted a muted set of earnings this time around. So let's listen in to Manoj Mishra, CMD at RCF, on what he has to say about the soft fertilizer performance and quarters ahead.
This quarter is not that good as compared to last year. Mainly there are a few reasons. The first is the mopping of energy under the new urea policy 2015, which had taken place from 1st of June last year. So that full quarter impact has come in this quarter, and that is almost 24 crore rupees. So that hit we have to take in this quarter. Then secondly, if you've seen our interest numbers, they have also gone up because of rather higher amount of subsidy outstanding. There is also got to do with certain subsidy remaining pending because of outstanding B1, B2 certificate, quantity and quality certificates from various state governments. And we have taken up with the Department of Fertilizers to take it up with the respective state governments that they should, because there also our almost 500 crore subsidies outstanding. So that has resulted in higher interest, which we hope will be sorted out. For P&K, actually, if your competitor come up with a lower lower purchases, lower price purchases for MOP or DAP, and they offer discounts to the market, we have to follow suit. So that actually the full impact of that is not reflected in this quarter. Actually, that will be the price reductions took place in the month of July. So those impacts have slightly come maybe on these stocks. So yes, we have to respond to the competition and keep correcting prices. This is regarding expansion project in Thal, which we call Thal 3. That I mean, PIB clearance has been received and it's with the government of India. Once they go ahead, we can take that up. That is a almost 5,500 crore project, expansion project, and where we'll bring the state-of-the-art urea plant.
Okay, that's of course RCF post the numbers, but the pre-open rates have settled, and I must say that we have a really impressive move on the Nifty. So cumulatively, I think we've gained about 1% in the last, what, one and a half hours of trade. Yesterday about an hour. Today the trade has not even started, the first 8 minutes of the pre-open, and we'll start off well and truly in the green. So that's actually a very, very good sign. Hindalco might lead the gains and IT might just stabilize a bit. Infosys is looking like it'll bounce off from those 52-week lows as well. So good going there. Hemang, before we let you go though, for our viewers who are just tuned in, a quick view. Any mid-cap stock that we haven't discussed, a mid-cap idea, maybe there's an Apollo, maybe there's something else that we haven't spoken about that you would be comfortable investing in right now?
Yeah, I think Apollo Tyres is something that we are absolutely comfortable with. A lot of things are going for it. We have seen that the volume growth has been about 14-15%. The management has indicated that they are looking at double-digit growth for next 1 year or so. Even in the European zone, we are seeing that the passenger vehicle growth is coming back in a big way. And they have made investment for the capex both in India, which is about 1,200 crore, and in Hungary about 200 million pounds. So I think at current price point and current valuations, Apollo Tyres can give a 15-20% kind of an upside from current level, and we are absolutely comfortable buying at this point of time.
Okay, Hemang, always great chatting with you. Mayuresh, what is your own sense on how some of these tyre names should be approached and whether they're still worth a buy in light of the fact that rubber prices are seeing a dip right now? Could they really be beneficiaries, or do you think they will have to pass on this benefit to customers?
Now again, largely I think a lot of raw material costs basically are dependent on rubber pricing, and if rubber prices are going down, it definitely will support margins. But again, I think it's a commoditized item onto the balance sheet, and again the fluctuations and volatility there will obviously have margins fluctuating as well. To a large extent, I think with the fall in crude and crude oil derivatives, synthetic rubber prices going down as well has been captured in the numbers of tyre stocks for the larger part of FY16, and that delta has probably come through. But going forward, again, I think Chinese imports are still quite evident in the Indian markets. The OEM is doing pretty well on the two-wheeler and the four-wheeler front, so I think there will be some respite on that front. The replacement market, because of the Chinese imports, still looks a little bit on shaky ground. So I think if the anti-dumping is what we are hearing about does come through, I think there will be a sentimental positive impact on tyre stocks. So selectively, I think my opinion is operationally, I think if you can hold on to stocks like MRF, TVS Sri Chakra, CEAT, I think these stocks can still eke out good operational performance. But again, I think the margins will not expand from the current levels.
Okay, Mayuresh, stay with us. Lots more to chat about, but just 2 minutes left to go before we kickstart trade for this Tuesday. So let me just recap the trading strategies coming in from our experts today. And CK has got a buy call in Nifty Futures, Indiabulls Housing Finance, and Dr. Reddy's as well. Siddharth Bhamre, and here's what he's recommending. He's got a buy on Coal India and a buy on Exide Limited as well. Kunal Bothra, 3 buy calls on Eicher Motors, Axis Bank, as well as Canara Bank. But let's get in some top trading strategies. CK, what's top on your radar?
I would run with a long in Indiabulls Housing at 835, 10 rupees stop loss, 1820 rupees target.
Siddharth, what about you?
Well, I'll go with Exide Industry. A lot of open interest building up over there. Mind you, it's a high risk, high return trade with a target of 194 and stop loss of 171.
Kunal, your top call?
Aisha, I would go with Axis Bank. I think the stock is looking extremely good on short term as well as medium term charts. 608 is a target which I would look out for Axis Bank.
Top calls. Let's try and nail it down to the top 5 things to watch this morning just before the markets kickstarts. Remember, there's the Nifty indicating an open close to 8700 on the futures, and we'll start off about close to 0.5% higher in the session today. Top results to watch, which will come out today, of course. Crompton is something that we'll watch out for. Indraprastha Medical, interesting mid-cap name, and Whirlpool stock trading at fresh highs. So this is something that you would keep a keen eye out for. Result reactions could be seen from small names like Bannari Amman Sugars, Nahar Industrial, as well as GMDC, which has had a very steady quarter. A weak results from Ashoka Buildcon, an RCF and a DLF, but more importantly, Ashoka Buildcon has gotten this order too, so it would be interesting to see what that stock, illiquid as it is, would be doing in the session today. And then Lakshmi Machine Works, I think we'll watch out for the open. It's a small quantity that ace investor Nimesh Shah has bought. It's an addition to his existing portfolio as well. And after this big move that we've seen already, let's see if there's further reaction in store for Lakshmi Machine Works as well or no. So these are a few stocks that should be on top of your mind. Of course, the market will start off higher, and therefore interesting to see what CNX IT does, what banks do, because these two indices, heavyweights as they are looking slightly weak right now. So it'd be interesting to see what they do in the session today on open. And on open, we have an uptick of about a third of a percent. Yes, thereabouts, almost 0.5%. Let me put it that way. 8648 for the Nifty, so good going there. For the Sensex too, about 125 odd points. So it's a good start that we've had on the key indices. The broader markets too are participating, which is actually a rather good sign. Bring up Hindalco, that is showing the top moves in the pre-open, and for now it is indeed the best performing stock on the Nifty. Coupled with ICICI Bank, there is strength in Hero MotoCorp, so that one continues to rise and shine. Good going there. And Tata Motors, after a massive run the last for 2 trading sessions, is slightly quiet, but at 528, 529, that is trading at fresh highs for itself as well. Bring up the usual suspects today. So RCF is reacting negatively to its numbers, down about 5%. There is perceptible weakness on fairly high volumes there. On the other end, stocks which have gotten orders, so TD Power up 13%, Ramki Infra up 10%. I also want to bring up what Ashoka Buildcon could be doing, because that is the other one which has gotten some orders. So mid-cap names all have gotten orders and all of them are doing well. E-Clerks, decent performance, and that stock is up about 6.5%. And then of course the big movers in trade, one of them is Delta Corp at 164, that is trading at new 52-week highs. And J Kumar Infra continues to rise and shine, up another 5% in trade.
Well, the strength continues to be with autos. Hero MotoCorp too has started off positively in trade. Tata Elxsi, a bit of a bounce after taking a seat back really yesterday. So Tata Elxsi just marginally higher. I want to check in on the rest of the IT pack as well. The likes of HCL Technology, Hexaware, remember, cracked a good 5% yesterday. So let's see whether those rates are replicated. Well, the Nifty IT pack per se is seeing a bit of a bounce back come in as the Nifty holds higher at 8650 as we speak. The Bank Nifty as well has made a bit of a marginal up in the green sort of start. E-Clerks, like Neeraj was pointing out, is reacting to its earnings. The net profit has surged by about 27%. DLF2, disappointment there. E-Clerks has jumped up 7% as we speak. That's a phenomenal move coming in on E-Clerks. DLF down about 1%. Ashoka Buildcon, RCF, Nahar Industries, GMDC, Moil, they should all be seeing earnings reactions coming in. Ashoka Buildcon higher by about 1.5% or so. Not just that, but Ajanta Pharma, that's another one, because they've got a tentative US FDA nod for oral tablets which are used to relieve headache, pain, migraine, etc. So that also is a stock to look out for, higher by about 0.7. That's where the stock is right now. Let's also check in on Future Retail, the new listing from yesterday, and that too should come for you on your screens next. Besides that, some earnings today. Whirlpool India, you've got a Cox & Kings and Crompton Greaves too, which you may want to check in on.
Yeah, interesting start to the day. Just before we get in, opening thoughts from Mayuresh, I think we need to get in our technical experts in and just take an initial thought. Siddharth, very good call yesterday morning on going long on the index. Now my question is, are you squaring off long positions on the indices? Couple that up, of course, Siddharth, with a quick call on Exide. Are you staying long here?
So index, there's no reason of booking profit, but don't expect very significant returns from current levels as such. I think we are heading towards again 86, 80, 8700, which I'm talking about spot levels, and there probably you might see again some lull coming in. Hold on to those longs. What you can add on is like hold on to Nifty longs and short Bank Nifty, which I had said today morning. So coupling yesterday's strategy with today's strategy can probably hedge yourself. And Exide industry has started well. It has given a breakout, but I would like it to sustain and move higher rather than just open up 1.5% and stay higher. I think even at current levels one can think of going long over here with a target and stop loss mentioned before.
Well, look at Hindalco. That indeed is the big winner when it comes to the Nifty today. You've also got ITC, Bharti Infratel, Aurobindo Pharma, Z, which was a mover yesterday too. You've got an Ambuja, Asian Paints, a Techem which has bounced, a BPCL, Coal India, ICICI Bank. So you can't really draw a trend here. It's a bit of a mixed bag, much unlike yesterday where autos were the clear winners. Aditya Birla Nuvo, you've got Bharat Financial Inclusion, erstwhile SKS. That's your top mover when it comes to the Nifty, when it comes to the F&O pack. You've got a Diwan Housing, a Biocon as well as Exide. These are the clutch of winners from within the F&O pack. On the flip side, it's Bharti, Karnataka Bank, Z, DLF, which are the losers as we speak right now. And yes, Exide, which our chartists were positive on, that also has started off very positively, up a good 1.5% on Exide futures. 183 is what the stock price is currently nudging. That too will come for your screens next. That's Exide in trade for you. But Kunal, what has been your first observation? Any stocks that are looking interesting right now?
Yes, I think Bank Nifty is started to come back again. We spoke in the morning as well that the IT stocks seems to be finding some sort of support. Many of these large cap IT names, the pace of correction should probably get arrested. If not, there is a marginal rally or short term rally for many of these names. So I think we're seeing that first signs, which is probably aiding this up move on the Nifty as well. In terms of individual stocks, I think one more stock which is looking good from a short-term basis is BPCL. I think the stock has already been a lot of focus in the last couple of months. It went into a 2-week consolidation. Now I think it's breaking that consolidation band, which I think is closer to 604 on spot levels as a resistance. So it's trading above it, which probably confirms that the stock has given a swing breakout in the short-term charts. I would look out for at least 3 to 4% upside further. So probably place my targets closer to 630 and then probably revise my target as now it trends higher. So that's a buy from my side once again.
Okay, Mayuresh, before we thank you, understand you'll have an appointment to make as well. Anything that has stood out for you? I mean, there's so many movers, and maybe a quick thought on Delta Corp as well. An unabated move since 100. Do you think it's wise to book some profits here?
Again, I think don't really understand the rationale behind the move. Yes, I think the expectations are that with new sites and casinos coming up, the revenues will go up, but find no fundamental reasoning in terms of how the stock movement has happened. Again, I think what we're really liking in terms of a theme going ahead would be these gas distribution companies. You have discussed earlier stocks like Indraprastha Gas, and my own sense is that the volume growth there can be quite stupendous over the next few years. What you've seen in terms of numbers can very well continue, I think, with cleaner fuel coming into demand. The CNG volume offtake can be quite significant. The PNG offtake can be quite significant as well. You've seen domestic gas prices come down from 4.2 MBTU to 3.4 MBTU. With the renegotiations that we had with RasGas, I think even that aspect has to be carefully considered, and if one really considers volumes to grow in higher single digits or higher double digits, my own sense is that the earnings can actually improve going forward as well. So largely, again, I think the kind of EBITDA per SCM that the company had posted of 6.57 compared to 5.3 for the better part of FY16 can very well continue over the next few quarters. So my own sense is gas distribution companies can also be looked at by long-term investors or declines. Very sound business model, and earnings can actually compound over the next 3 to 4 years.
Right. Mayuresh, so good chatting with you. Thanks much for taking the time out and speaking with us today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, coming up in the next 40 minutes, a tete-a-tete with the biggest bull on the street. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala speaks exclusively with us at ET Now. So stay tuned. We're going to get you